Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm definitely caught up in this show about the unfortunate nature of the former president being indicted once again, by the way. And I'm going to say this, as much as I may not care for him, uh, and as strange as it may sound to some people, it does bother me that we're here, and it's going to probably surprise a lot of people, in a former president. Nothing about that should make anybody feel good, even if he probably deserves being indicted. Uh, we have a couple minutes before we actually kick it off and get going. Anybody that wants to call into the show, 319-227-6090. You can find us on YouTube Live at Greg Doss, GD, NAPSC. You can find us on, uh, what else we got going on? I'm drawing, but Facebook Live. I forgot. Greg, TJ Squid, Gret Doss. I'm trying to listen in here and get some tidbits of information. I enjoy hearing attorneys talk because we're gonna go over tonight. I'm so deeply involved in litigation, and some of the litigation, kind of some allegations that were levied against Donald Trump were some issues that I was going to raise in my case as well. I'll show everybody that. We'll go as we always do. Of course, you can check me out on Blog Talk Radio at blogtalkradio.com/Greg Doss, GREGDOSS. And I guess I had to watch this on the replay because I know you probably hear it in the background. Let me go ahead and end that. And despite the fact that it hurts me to my heart not to be able to watch this, uh, I thoroughly enjoy. Hasn't watched this, watch me on Chop Shop, please go check me out on Chop Shop, and you can find us on YouTube and on Facebook Live at Chop Shop. And if you happen to have had the chance to check me out last week, as I I think I said lying ass cops and judges, you'll notice that my shirt had the black people, slavery did not benefit black people. And I actually have a different version of the same shirt come Thursday as I make my next appearance in front of the Tampa Bay City Council. And since we have a couple of minutes before the music kicks in, you can see the stream at the bottom. I believe my chat is showing as well. There we go. The chat is up. I'll thank everybody for joining. And again, this is not an issue solely about what I have going on. Just like if you had a chance to check out the child support webinar this week, I gave everybody, especially if you're in Florida, enough information that you should be able to reverse your child support case, and at minimum put the position. So, but tonight we're going to talk about these 7,000 emails. I don't have 7,000 followers. I'm surprised that the city of Tampa has 7,000 emails about somebody like me. And if they have 7,000 emails about me, who knows what the city has about anybody else. So give it a couple minutes. We'll pump up the introduction music for Squid. Tell your friends or family, whatever you, because I'm going to show you what the city of Tampa actually sent me with regards to this this breakdown as to the $10,640 for what's it called? The public records request. $10,000. And by the way, this is $10,000 for records I did not have when they were prosecuting me. So these are things that everybody should probably think about and take notes for tonight. And if you know if anybody out there is associated with a regulatory agency, check us out. I don't think we're not at mute. We're not muted. And to the normal people who join the show, if you can hear me, let me know that you hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know that you can't hear me, and we'll go with it from there. And as well as if anybody needs any services or what have you, feel comfortable going to GDNAPSC, schedule a consultation. and let's try to get as many people the help that they need. And of course, I can't give legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I don't have a license to practice law, but and I do highly recommend people get an attorney. But if you can't afford an attorney and you want to work on your on certain situations, I can only tell you what I would probably do in that situation. Again, I do highly recommend anybody with any kind of legal situation uh, hire a licensed and hopefully competent attorney. And let's see what's going on. And by the way, I want to show everybody go get you one of these. This is my pocket Constitution of the United States. Don't just talk about what's in the Constitution because it sounds good and somebody else says it. Take the time to go read the damn thing. Even if you read it in bits and pieces. And this is a small, abridged copy, I believe. So, um, for the most part, I have a much larger copy. No, this is the full one. I have another one that looks kind of the same. But be aware what's in the Constitution. Know your rights, so that you can adequately defend the rights, not just your Constitution uh, for the federal government, but know the Constitution for the state as well. And I have one of Florida. Hold on one second. Let me disable my camera. But I'm going to show you my copy, and I have a certified copy of the Constitution of the state of Florida. And just continue to bear with me. I don't know. I had it earlier today. Hope I might have left it in the car, but we'll get to it. Where is my Constitution? Let's see. I will find this Constitution. I'll probably end up coming across it the moment I walk away from every. The moment the show is over, I'll probably find this Constitution. Here we go. We're back to doing what we normally do. I actually also have my Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which everybody will be able to see inside here somewhat. Something my buddy Will turned me on to the UCC connection. Uh, it's a decent reading, but nothing to me surpasses the strength and power of the Constitution. This is of the state of Florida, and I've already showed you all the Constitution for the United States. Know these as well. And I used to spend hours upon hours, uh, and this is actually a large. Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Greg Dawes Show featuring DJ Squid. And it's painfully I'm doing this show, although I think it's necessary because I received some information today that kind of surprised me, and it was the response to my public records request. And in fact, they mentioned uh, my appearance in front of the Tampa City Council. I thought it was kind of interesting, but today I found out that the city of Tampa has over 7,000 emails about me. And my question to everybody out there is, listen, they got 7,000 emails about me. How many does your city have about you? And as I put into my description, I'm not famous, nor am I anybody special. Okay. But for some reason, the city of Tampa sent me an explanation for the $10,000 public records request. Now they claim that they have to review and redact information in over 7,000 emails containing information about me. And again, my question is, how many emails do you think they may have about you? Okay. Think about it. 7,000 emails. I don't have 7,000 followers. If you want to listen to the show, of course, you can check me out on YouTube Live at Greg Dawes, GD, NAPSC. And of course, you can also find me at Blog Talk Radio, blogtalkradio.com/Greg Dawes. Let's bring on our oftentimes, and I enjoy when he pops in. What's up, CT? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. CT, can you hear me? I'm wondering, can everybody, well, I'm getting a feed. I hope everybody on Blog Talk can hear me, as well as everybody on YouTube should be able to hear me as well. Is there anybody on YouTube who cannot hear me? I guess I'll just type it in. Let's see. Let's see if that right there works pretty well for everybody. And if you're on, I believe, any other platforms, you should be able to, if nothing else, hear me and see me. CT, are you in there yet? Make sure I don't have my microphones closed off on Blog Talk or anything else. Or it'd be pretty strange if nobody could hear me. Let's try that. Now, can everybody? One of my streams are trying to reconnect. I don't know where they're talking about they can't connect to. Let me see something. I'm getting it. Let's see. He says he cannot hear me. Now, what in the world is going on? Let me look at my Blog Talk. I'm open on Blog Talk. Let's see. Can you hear me now, CT? Now, I hear you in the background, so you can't hear me? 319-527-6090. I don't know what to tell people because I can hear everybody. I guess I can hear everything fine. Everybody's saying still no sound through Blog Talk. Is there? I don't know. Maybe you should try to listen to me on what's it called? Facebook. And I guess I need to plug into my Facebook because everybody's saying they can't hear me on the other platforms. But I'll go ahead and pull up this Facebook platform and see if we can hear me. And if you can't hear me on Blog Talk, I definitely apologize. CT, I can hear you in the background. And he said not hear me. So I don't know what exactly is going on with this. It's kind of interesting that of all the days for it not to work, it'd be today when there's so much for me to about with regard to this invoice from the city of Tampa. So let me see if I get if I get anything at all on YouTube. Didn't hear anything after unmuted. Now they are supposedly working out the kinks with this what's it called? This direct connect. And I hope direct connect is not screwing me over, but everybody should be able to hear me through the direct connect on YouTube. Let's see what's up. Hey CT, I can hear you in the background. I don't know if there's a problem, but what I'm going to do is, if anybody can go to Facebook and tell me, can you hear me on Facebook? Yeah, I can be heard on Facebook for sure. So that being said, I don't know what to say as far as not being able to be heard through normal means. I can try this right here and see how this works. Because he said he cannot hear me. Hey, can you hear me now, CT?
Now I can. I don't know what's on the blog talk. I can hear you on YouTube, but you know it's that delay as well.
Well, you're 100% coming in clear right now. So now you're live, and I don't hear much feedback. Hopefully you have a hands-free set because I actually have you through my cell phone. But at any rate, thanks for hopping on, and I'll definitely send a message to Blog Talk because they supposedly fixed all these issues. There's a new direct connect system, and somebody else called in and said they can't hear on Blog Talk as well. So I apologize on behalf of Blog Talk, which I shouldn't be, especially because I'm paying them. But we'll figure out what's going on a little bit later on. So what's going on, man?
Oh man, just enjoying life. You know, it's another day. I mean, the only thing that irritates me more than public officials, it gotta be these mosquitoes, man.
Hey, and it's humid here in Florida, so those mosquitoes are getting real active. I can imagine what football season is going to be like if they don't do something about these. They do something to treat these fields because them things out there look like butterflies.
Yeah, I mean, I had one that I kind of tried to like slap away from me, and I don't know, it came back like aggressive.
It's gonna get that bite in. 319. Hey, listen, people. 319-527-6090. Hopefully they fix whatever's going on with Blog Talk. Because I don't get it. And you said on Blog Talk you couldn't hear me at all, correct?
Not at all. You would hear the I guess that's the voice recording. Like when you first call, it say listen or press 1 to contact the host, or then you can hear when it says muted and unmuted. But as far as you hosting, I don't hear nothing. It's just dead air.
Wow. Kind of makes me wonder. But on YouTube I'm clear. So everybody, I don't know what to say. Maybe you could try to you can still try to call me through Blog Talk and press the number 1, and I'll just dial you from the same line that CT is on. Now, CT, did you have a chance to read the email that I received today from the City of Tampa?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Talking about the one that's referring to the 7,000 emails, the same email where they're trying to I guess, for lack of a better word, I could say extort 10K out of you.
Yes, and it's kind of interesting that they actually have a delivery via certified mail, which they didn't. Well, I got this email, so I guess maybe they're going to send me something certified mail because it's dated today. And what I find bothersome and extremely troubling, and anybody out there, you can go ahead and check out your YouTube. I'm about to share the page, so you'll be able to see exactly what we're talking about as it relates to this document I'm speaking about. But it's wild to say the least. Share this page for everybody out here who's, let's see, window. There we go. Let's share this. There we go. So there's the public records request, their response to my public records request, which I'll go here and show you. Well, this is actually one for today. This is the public records request I submitted on March 15th, 2023. And as you can see, these are all the people in the city of Tampa. And this is actually from what they sent me via email. But this is everything that they sent me regarding my public records request. Is my screen still showing up pretty well for everybody on YouTube?
Yeah, I see the request. It looks pretty clear.
Okay.
I would say if you could blow it up more, that like zoom in on once you start going through it or whatnot.
Let's see. That help?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay, so there we go, people. We just want to make sure everybody can see exactly what's going on here. But essentially, I just did a public records request, and anybody, by the way, who wants information can do a public records request. And you know, I do mine pretty basically. I just lay out what's going on, and I always ask them to waive the fees, which generally they do. I'll say that. And this part here about preserving electronically stored information. One reason I asked for that is because I didn't want them to get rid of things that I may need, but because my case was dismissed in my favor, they kind of had a duty to keep all this stuff anyway. And as you see, I'm going through. I don't want to name names because for some reason I'm still trying to figure out why YouTube took down my video where I was talking about my houses, saying that it was some kind of violation of their policy against private information. I'm like, dude, I'm Chagret. So at any rate, this is pretty much how it is. What I submitted, and this is number 14. You may find kind of interesting because this may be something that may come up a little later on down the line. And trust me when I tell you, on Thursday I'm going to talk about this. That the former mayor of Tampa, bodyguard again, Detective Victor, is the one who conducted supposedly the investigation into me. And yet, after X number of months, I never got any discovery really from the city beyond his general offense report. But if there's 70,000, there's 7,000 emails that they have about me, I should have gotten a heck of a lot more in discovery. And I'll bring that up as well. I can bring it up today, but if they had 7,000 emails, it would stand to reason that when I filed my request for discovery, that Brady in the Brady doctrine, the Brady standard for disclosure of information, would have required that the state attorney, because the state attorney, any information that's held by any of the witnesses is essentially imputed to the state attorney. Of course, it's not legal advice. Look it up, but you'll understand what I'm saying. The state attorney would have imputed knowledge as to information that they may have, whether it's inculpatory or exculpatory, meaning whether or not it show why I would be convicted of something, or whether or not I should be let free to go on about my merry way. But we didn't get anything. So here we go. And I asked for other stuff. And by the way, if anybody wants this stuff, it's a public records request, just call me and or email me, and I'll send it to you. And by the way, I'd like to thank the guy who sent me $5 on chat to support the YouTube page, and hopefully he comes on and I can tell him thank you personally. His name is Jay Noble, so I appreciate him for supporting what we do here at GD NAPSC. And there you go. Everything else is there. And so that's where we are. And from that, everybody, here you go. I know that you've already seen this CT, but for everybody else out there, whether you're watching on YouTube or anything else, and hopefully everybody's watching this stuff about the Trump indictment, and you can come back to this later. But here you go. The public records request. And here you go, and they'll say right here, this communication is in response to your statements made at the recent Tampa City Council meeting during public comment. Now, by the way, your original request was received on March 24th. That's all they should be focused on, not what I said at the city council meeting. Now, an invoice is provided to you on April 13th. In the invoice stated, if your payment is not received within 30 business days of the invoice date, it will be automatically closed. You did not submit payment, therefore the request has been closed since May 26th. Prior to invoicing, the City of Tampa's public records staff assessed your request and the estimated clerical time required to locate, review, and provide the response records. A breakdown of the estimate by page of your request is as follows. Now, here's what's kind of interesting. I'm going to ask the judge to make them give them up anyway. Or if anybody out there is up for it, give me 4, 5, or 6 of us. We'll go in there and I'll just look at the records myself. Just open them up for me to look at them. I have that right. Now, you see that the estimate is 4 hours of clerical time for my page 3 request, 2.5 for the page 4 request, and during a cursory search, by the way. So there could actually be more. There are over 7,000 emails that will need to be reviewed for confidential or exempt information prior to release. The estimate for this portion of the request is 445 clerical hours at $23 an hour, by the way. So the total, as you can see, for 461 hours is $10,614. Now, I don't have nearly enough people to do a GoFundMe that get up that kind of money that I would know of. But we're going to talk about this in front of the city council. And my bigger question is, if you have 7,000 emails, where were those 7,000 emails at the time that we were going through the criminal phase? Can you all see that on your screen pretty well? Can you see that, CT?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so I didn't make it up, people. By the way, again, we'll try 319-527-6090, 319-527-6090, and there you go. And then they close it out in the City of Tampa Police Public Records Center. I'll just file another public records request, and I ask the Justice Department to go in and get it for me. Since they and it was kind of interesting to me is how they have an idea from a cursory search that there's 7,000 emails. And what I might want to argue is that the city of Tampa just admitted to knowingly violating Brady during the criminal proceeding, unless all these emails came after the close of the criminal proceeding. But they did say if I want to, I can narrow my request, and I'll just send them another records request. And I want to make sure this is part of their policy that if you don't pay an invoice within 30 days, that their policy is to close the request. And by the way, I'll just put in another public records request for the same thing. But there you go, people. 319-527-6090, 319-527-6090. And again, can't make this stuff up. And I'm going to say this as well. If you're anybody in this area, or actually it doesn't matter where you are, and you might think that maybe some shenanigans have gone on in your area, I would probably highly encourage everybody to take the time to not only do a public records request about yourself, but to tell your families and friends, just to, even if you get just something that is pretty much with a response to it, to have an idea of where you are. And again, I'm not well known or followed by millions of people. I think it's pretty interesting that they know that there's 6,000 emails about me. 319-527-6090, 319-527-6090. And again, I was just checking out my Facebook page. That's something that I would be very concerned with if I was anybody else. Okay. And again, it'd be disingenuous for me to say that I'm not slightly bothered by the idea of having that many. And uh, let's see if that brings my blog talk on. Check your blog talk now. Anybody wanting to join the show, 319-527-6090. Again, that number is 319-527-6090 to join the show live. And if you have any thoughts and or comments, definitely feel free to make them. Let's see, call the show live. Type this in. You have any thoughts or comments about what you saw, CT?
Yeah, actually, from looking at that letter, from what I'm seeing, it's telling me that there was a lot of correspondence between certain parties about you and the parties that involve people that's of some type of authority in whatever department that they're working in. You know, to be going back and forth like that, they are going back and forth. Also, it tells me that for it to be that many emails, it got to be a certain amount of people involved. Because I just don't see maybe two people exchanging that many emails back and forth, you know.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just me on the outside looking in, but it looks like there's a lot of weird things that's going on related to that public records request.
Right.
Looks like there's some funny business going on, in my opinion.
Well, I'm gonna sure work to get clarity. If people don't know, the judge in my federal case did state discovery pending the outcome of however they're going to rule on my complaint itself. They did say that, and it's still the last time I checked, and I'll just do that for the sake of clarity for everybody, because I try to be as transparent as possible when it comes to anything. And so I'll log into Pacer, and I know I logged in earlier today, and they hadn't made any movement since the 6th of July. And one of the things I was going to tell people is this is just part of the process. I know some may think, this is too much to go through. My thing is so long as you wake up, hey, you're a day closer to getting whatever relief you're going to get anyway. So I'm going to go into this Pacer, show people my Pacer page, and where am I? Okay, hold on. And for those who don't have a Pacer account, I would probably suggest that you get one. So we are Pacer. You do a query here, and you're going to find two. This is the case that I actually have open, but hypothetically speaking, you wanted to know which case you had open for those who don't have a Pacer account. And the cost of the account varies based upon how much you have going on. That's me. I'm not the attorney, DOS, for sure. And here's the two cases that are open. I actually had an extension to file a amended complaint for this one right here. But here we go right here. And as you see, the last thing I showed everybody is when they stayed everything on 7/6. But if you ever want to see what a docket looks like in the federal court, or if anybody tells you they filed in the federal court, just something to give you their name and the jurisdiction it's in, and it'll look something like this. So we're deeply involved in discovery, and at any time you can just go in here and see exactly what a person filed, like even the corporate disclosures, and I do everything. I filed everything for myself, and it's a work in progress. I do consult with attorneys from time to time, but it'll look something like this right here, and there you go. And that's just one of the filings, but you can always take a look at the case. Again, it's not a secret, it's there. Now in the federal court, they can seal things. I don't know about certain state courts, but they can eventually seal things if we come to a resolution. So, and you'll see where the states filed or the defendants have filed their motions to dismiss. I think there's somewhere in here. So I know they're Control F. Let's try this. There you go. Motion for dismiss. And I think I voluntarily dismissed one of the parties. But the other thing is we're still moving forward, and the court hasn't ruled on either their motions to dismiss or my motions in opposition. As you see, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 motions in opposition to their motion to dismiss, and depending on who the actual party was, this is what it looks like. So this is, the fact that I don't have a whole lot of following is another one of the reasons why a lot of this should be really strange to people, right? CT, that's a heck of a lot going on for people who are supposed to be sitting righteously. And let's see what we got going. I can't even remember. It's been so long. I have an idea why I filed in opposition, and this is how most of my filings look. And this is the federal court. You have to follow the rules and also the font and what have you. So we'll see. Hopefully, they don't rough when it comes to what they're going to do. But essentially, that's pretty much where we were, or where we are, and what I wanted to talk about tonight. Not a heck of a lot. Plus, I want to take the time to read this new indictment. I know it's kind of strange that some of these things are kind of exciting to me when it comes to politics. I'm interested in the direction the country is going to take. Again, 319-527-6090. Can you check Blog Talk to see if you can get any audio on Blog Talk now, CT?
All right, just keep talking.
All right. I don't know. I have very little to say. By the way, anybody who does have a child support issue, I laid out quite a bit of information this weekend. Limited response, but the cool part about it is it's never going to be about money. But I'll tell everybody that you better be prepared for resistance, even when you are in the right. Be prepared. Okay, be prepared for the resistance, no matter what you do. A lot is at stake, and they're not just going to let you have what you want to have. So I'm back on Blog Talk. I'll type it in. So if you want to join the show, I'll put down and speak with me live. Bear with me, people. Now I'm gonna tell you something else. I'm not a unrealistic person. I understand the juggernaut that's in front of me, or the gargantuan, which it has many moving parts. It's like a multi-headed giant or what have you, or serpent. Because I have the City of Tampa, I have their police officer. We potentially have the prime, and you also have a couple of police officers who are now retired, deputy who's now retired. You also have the sheriff's office. And what's interesting is many of these people have obligations and duties and responsibilities. So even if they were to see somebody doing something that wasn't proper, they would have a duty to report them. None of that's gone on in my case. And that should be troubling to people. Not because it's me, but because it could be anybody. And when we're talking about these the public records requests that I've already put in and the people who are involved, you might want to consider what the far-reaching effects could be to everybody else. Whatever's going to happen to me is going to happen. Okay, I don't live my life in fear or worrying about what's going to happen. I accepted that I wasn't going to be here forever a long time ago. Not that I'm itching to get out of here anytime soon, but the reality is there's a lot more at stake than just me, and a lot more at stake than a few child support cases. In fact, I don't even think their issue with me is the child support cases. Their issue with me might be that I know that the 13th Judicial Circuit allows, well, I won't say that as a circuit. A judge, at least one judge in the 13th Judicial Circuit, allowed an attorney to file an action on behalf of a party that attorney did not represent. And the contents of that pleading were false. And the judge still ruled in favor of granting the motion, even though that motion would be construed to be, or could be considered, a sham pleading. Maybe because a lot of people are frustrated with me because I know that there's a doctor for the VA who worked for the insurance company against the interest of a veteran. That might bother. I don't know. It may be because I'm well aware that yes, judges and possibly the mayor were involved in an activity of stealing houses. That could be it as well. I don't know. It may be because they know that I'm aware that at least in my 4 cases, there was never an evidentiary hearing. So nobody ever proved standing. That's not me. Just go to the records on any of the properties. It may be because they know that I'm also aware that the same judge who's alleged to have initiated the perjury action against me was so fixated on me that he didn't pay attention to the fact that the attorney, the firm that replaced the initial filing firm, were never granted an order allowing them to proceed in the case. So everything they filed the moment they supposedly took on was outside of the rules, well-established rules. In other words, what a firm can, or an attorney can withdraw, another attorney can take over, but the rule here is if the attorney is from a different firm or a different law office, the court must grant them an order allowing them to proceed on behalf of the client. Didn't happen. Somebody here believes, somebody who's listening believes that maybe we need to look into, and actually there's 2 people, even CT, look into where are the engagement letters for all the attorneys who filed foreclosure documents or claim to have been representing the banks. Where are your engagement letters? In other words, where's the proof that you actually work for a bank? Not just you saying you're here on behalf of the bank. Maybe that you can show us some kind of document. I want to ask for that stuff, by the way. It could be maybe they're aware that at least with one of my properties, that the original foreclosure action was filed outside the 5-year statute of limitations. Yet, the 13th, that's okay. It might be because I'm aware that the Department of Revenue probably has oh wow, not Mr. Hoffer. By the way, great Teamster, Mr. Hoffer there. And I'm speaking as a former Teamster. I guess I'm always going to be a Teamster at heart. It could be because I'm aware that the Department of Revenue was allowed by hearing officers and judges to move forward with child support orders that were not garnered congruently with well-established law. So in other words, they got some child support orders, people that you all probably should go back and review, because many of your child support orders out here in the 13th Circuit are definitely reversible at bare minimum, which would make it, if it may be void ab initio. A lot of you slick people that talk on the internet like to say a lot of this stuff and give people a whole lot of other things to go on. Just go to the law. Find out if policy or followed, and if procedure is off, then you can move to have your case reversed. And that's the process that you may have to learn. You don't have to be very articulate in your writing. I showed everybody a motion to vacate last week, and what one looks like. And you file your declaration, attach your declaration to your motion to vacate, meaning your sworn statement or affidavit, put it in, and make people show you things. Yes, I have lying hearing officers. I happen to be sitting next to a gentleman this week or last week it was, and he sat on hold for some hours waiting to be let into a child support hearing, his own hearing. And the hearing officer, initial CD, by the way, this hearing officer in his, and I actually have a copy of this guy's, I should have scanned one for everybody to look at. Remind me, and I'll do it on Wednesday, on a Thursday show. Here it is. My found friend. Well, this is his. He has a hearing coming up. But at any rate, the hearing officer claimed that the guy didn't show up, totally unaware of the fact that we were in the waiting room and that we'd made calls to the building to get in. So we're going to see what the new chief judge of the 13th Circuit does about that, because I'm going to file an affidavit on his behalf because I was there. Not to mention, the hearing officer actually let me inside of the Zoom meeting. I just didn't show a picture, like, you know, you can see my background, but he didn't see me and didn't realize I was looking at him. But he's going to say that the guy that was sitting next to me didn't make an appearance. And it's crazy, but I've had some of the strangest encounters with these people. And these aren't things that I'm just making up. I mean, these are things that the information and the documentation was created by somebody other than myself. Cannot make this stuff up. And I've asked people, even asked you, CT, and asked the beloved and said, you know, if you didn't know me with this, would you think this is strange? She says, yeah, it's strange. She said, and I've seen what's going on. So I don't know. There used to be a lot of talk about how corrupt people were and how the judges do this, that, and the other. And I'd be like, okay, cool. Just go prove it. And I'm waiting for some people to prove it. But in my case, I've had the weirdest, and I do mean weirdest stuff go on. Just like when I found out about the 5 judges. So apparently, the judge that claims that I perjured myself, allegedly, was hanging out with some other judges. And no one told me what was going on, so let me find out where this thing is. Here we go. The 5 judges. I need this right here. I'm going to show everybody this. So why is my 5 judges not showing? Uh-oh. Let me go ahead and look at my other. That's bothersome. I may have to go find it. Oh, those are the covers. I don't want that. Let me see this right here. Where is it? Just bear with me, people. But I'm gonna pull up something. I'll stop sharing while I'm looking here on my own. I'm gonna show you stuff that's gonna be kind of troubling. So in other words, so here's what happened. Judge Greg Holder at the time was a judge, and his colleagues knew he was supposedly the witness in the case against me. None of them, save one, kind of just dismissed themselves without making a big deal of it. 16 to 5 judges. There we go. There we go. So it pops up now. I got it now. So anyway, but I had to fight to get the judges to disqualify themselves. So here we go. And you can't make it up. It's right there. They were having Faith and Ale meetings on October 17th. At the same time, I'm getting prosecuted. And I can't remember which judge I was in front of at the time. It might have been, it's in between this guy here and Judge Nash, who at least sent the letter to Chief Judge Ficarota, telling him that he might need to seek the assistance of a judge from outside the circuit. And then we get the Attorney General, by the way, Miss Ashley Moody, works for Mr. DeSatan, defends this guy and says this is stuff done in the normal course and scope of a judge doing his job. Speaking of which, I need to go ahead and print this thing out too. I'm going to need this as an exhibit for my Thursday speech. I'm gonna try to get it out there. But here you go. This guy right here was a chief judge. I've been in front of this guy for something else. This guy right here I was in front of during my perjury case. This guy here tried to hold the case down, and this is the guy who allegedly claimed that I perjured myself and told Michael Victor. Can't make this stuff up, people. Cannot make it up. And so I tell anybody again, if you're in the Hillsborough County area and you had any cases in front of this guy, especially, and potentially these people, you may want to have your case reviewed by a regulatory agency. Not me making it up. The only other thing I have is this report here. I believe this is the one where, to some people's chagrin in mine, he says on February 9th at about 11:45, he was contacted by the Honorable Judge Greg Holder, who has a civil case in his courtroom regarding a pending bankruptcy hearing. We know bankruptcies don't take place in civil court, circuit level courts, or state level courts, involving the suspect. And by the way, Judge Holder related that the suspect had filed a sworn document filed with the clerk of the court advising he was indigent, did not own any real property, and had no source of income. Judge Holder, believing a fraud was being committed, researched the Hillsborough County Property Appraiser's website and located real property owned by the suspect and requested that this fraud be investigated by law enforcement. Now, for everybody in the world, this is the guy right here, the police officer. This is his report, not mine, not something I made up. And that's what he said right there. And if you go through this, and anybody who wants it can have it, it's a part of my exhibits anyway. Can't make this stuff up, even if you want to. It's like I couldn't make up the fact that this same judge, Mr. Greg Holder, during a stay, called a case management conference. Come on, thing, roll down. Here we go. Order setting case management conference signed by Judge Holder. And by the way, during this time here, the second DCA had already stayed the proceedings. So if the second DCA stayed the proceeding, shouldn't have been a case management conference. That would mean that he was totally and wholly divested of jurisdiction. Cannot make it up. And somewhere around here, in one of these documents, I have where the second DCA had stayed the proceeding. If it's not in here, it's in one of my subsequent attachments. But the craziest thing I'm gonna tell you, and I forgot I actually had this. The same information I asked for information from during my case about this judge's discipline history, and the strange part about it was I knew what happened with him. And here you go, just not even a full year from the date that this was published, he's involved in going above and beyond again. So here's here are articles in the Tampa Bay Times that I actually put inside the of my court filings, where the JQC actually reprimanded him. Yet I didn't get any of this. I just happened to know about it. And I think this is going to be the CRA that they gave me. And as you can see, a lot of stuff is redacted in here. Quite a bit's redacted. But all of a sudden, they have everything else in the world supposedly about me. I don't even know why this right here is in here. But anyway, so again, I'm kind of troubled by a lot of this because it can mean so much. I'm just going by here just to show everybody who may get a glimpse of everything. Here are my quit claim deeds. Actually, these are certificates of title where the clerk, actually the sales and titles first. So here you go. Certificate of sale. The clerk certifies that notice of public sale of property described in the final judgment was published. So they published it, and on this day in 2015, it was offered for public sale to the highest bidder for cash. Now, somebody mentioned to me that they don't think that they may have been surprised that Mr. Dave actually bought these properties. And they say whomever it is that's so upset with me that they did not allow me to defend the properties. So they gave Dave the property. The clerk sold him the property, gave him a title. Happened on all 4 properties. Subsequently, Dave quit claiming the properties to me. That's how I became the owner. Illegal. There you go. The quit claim deeds, all inside the. You can find these right now if you all look them up. Each one of the deeds. Now, what I would challenge anybody to do is to find out when and where I transferred the deeds out of my name, the way they claimed I did during in the email. So there we go, people. It's pretty cut and dry, and I have so much work to do that I'm going to probably get started on a couple of things. If anybody needs help again with your child support stuff, you can definitely reach out to me. I think I pretty much covered everything I'm going to cover now. I'm going to get back on some of this other work that I have to get done for the rest of this week. Plus, I got some stuff going on Thursday. I have a couple of items I'm going to talk about on Thursday after I go to the city council meeting, which I may take my buddy Squid with me to the city council meeting, because I really want to know how we have 7,000 emails. Yeah, I got not one thing from the city of Tampa that even alluded to emails. Although in Victor's report, he mentions that him and Judge Holder exchanged emails, but I got nothing. But you all have 7,000 emails on me. It's kind of interesting. So I appreciate everybody for stopping by. If anybody does have any comments, if you're in the blog talk, 319-527-6090, 319-527-6090. I'll give you a couple of minutes because I'm definitely anxious to get back onto this Trump indictment. Plus, it's 46 pages of reading that I have yet to finish. So I'm going to read the indictment and have a good idea of what's going on. But I'm going to say this also because I'm looking here, and actually he's supposed to appear in court on Thursday. I'm doing this and looking at the TV. One of the charges against Trump, CT, was a violation of 18 U.S.C. 241. That's conspiring and interfering with the right. If anybody's listening, and I'm going to bring it up on Thursday, I'm wondering what in the world anybody with power would think of the fact that this judge and this police officer, at least on the surface, lied. And that they got together and lied along with some other people and charged me and had me arrested. And at the time that they filed the criminal charges against me, I had at least one, if not 2 cases. I know I did have 2 cases in the federal court at one time going on. So I had to let those cases go, which was my right to defend my property and bring an action in the federal court. But because I was a lot more of a novice then than I am now, I let the federal case go, and I had to focus on my freedom, which ultimately I maintained. So, but it's 18 USC 241. So anybody hit you for with Rico. Yeah, I saw that as well. I'm looking forward to seeing some of this indictment, and I think this is going to be ugly. Now I'm going to say this: even I don't believe that a former president should ever go to jail. I just don't. You can convict him. You can do anything in the world to him. He should not go to jail. Anybody out there who listens who don't like that, yeah, I get it. And also, I want to say this to the office of Senator Rubio. I appreciate you all giving some of my concerns your immediate attention. Does not mean I'm gonna vote for him, but I do appreciate him giving me giving my situation his attention. And things could change in the next 5 years. I guess is when he runs again because he just recently elected. But I will say this: if you're a veteran out there and you're having difficulties getting things done, reach out to your local congressperson, and definitely, if you can, reach out to your state senator. I will say this: Cat has absolutely responded to everything. The Georgia Rico statue, okay. And if you think, and I know he's probably if his family's going to hit him with a Rico charge. Uh, I don't like to use that R word too much, but that R word may be also possible. Yes, Landon, what's going on, man? Yeah, 7,000 emails is what they claim they have. I guess he popped in a little bit later, and I appreciate everybody. And if you want to call into the show, 319-527-6090, 319-527-6090. I will show everybody. And if anybody wants to see or wants this letter, you'll definitely be able to see the letter on when I go Thursday, because I'll have the letter with me. But if anybody wants a copy of their own, because it's public records anyway, and you want to share it with somebody who may find it interesting enough to delve into it, anybody know any journalists who may be interested in probably Pulitzer Prize material, right here for you. See, your cousins did. Your cousin. Hey, I won't say they didn't, but the office of the Senate is powerful. I like to thank my man JT, uh, Jonathan Torres, who's a chop shop, for helping hook some of that stuff. But here you go, Landon. Right there. 7,000 emails. Cannot make it. Not that creative, as I always say. Um, that's troubling, and it would take them 445 hours to scrub those emails. There you go. And again, anybody who wants any of this information, just email me, gdnapsc@gmail.com. I'll send it over. I'm going to start turning a lot more of this information into links so that people who want any information about any of my cases, I'll work on that. I need to find me a tech guy. No problem, L. So they can look at that. But there you go, clear as day. And they still want their $10,614 for this information. So let me get that out of there and come on back up. But there we go. Tell you, you can't make it up. And I see we got quite a bit going on in Georgia. And I was watching the other night when they were, I appreciate that, Ms. Bonnell. Yeah, the Brady issues are something that should concern everybody, especially if you're a person of color. And actually anybody, but we know who gets prosecuted most often. The fact that they did not turn over anything that they should have in Brady, and then come back around and want to sell and then want to sell it to me, when in fact my Brady request never ends. I don't think that they are without the obligation to provide information that they chose not to provide in the cases of getting dismissed. I don't know. I'll do some research to see. We'll ask the question. In fact, I'll let you all watch this. Does a dismissal and a request for discovery in a criminal case? Dismissal and a request for discovery in a criminal case. So see if we get something for here. And I always go to Florida, and that might not be the best way to ask the question. I go to the 11th Circuit because that's the circuit that covers us federally, and you may want to do this right here. There's a dismissal in the discovery in a criminal case. Let's try that. So the fact that Brady could have had the case dismissed. Let's see. Okay, so the 3.220B, which is what I filed. Okay. Let's see here. The Brady violation. Allow. The Brady violation allow a discovery request. Continue even after dismissal of the case. Let's try this. Let's see if we get that. But I'll get on some of this later on, but I don't know that my request for discovery. See, here's what would have happened. Had we tried to go to trial, they would never have been able to use anything against me. Now, here's where one of the issues are with some of this stuff here. This is why they asked me about the discovery request or the Chapter 119 request. And they're going to say that if you could have gotten it from the government, if you could have gotten it through a FOIA request, then that would be satisfactory. In fact, I think Judge Conrad talked about that in one of my cases. Say we can just get to a public records request, and so that's where they are. And I guess that's where we're going to have the question I'll be asking is, were they required to give it to me even after that, or could they withhold it even after the trial was over and force me to pay for it? So that's the question. And I guess I'll get into some more discovery, but I do this thing all day and all night in stereo looking for information. So I'll jump on that some other time. I don't know what this one right here is. Let's see. So at any rate, this is where we are. And if you are anywhere in the vicinity, again, of Hillsborough County, I would, and you have a child support case, I would take the time to comb over your final order, your original final judgment that got your child support case. If you need help, go to gdnapsc.com. I think it's worth it. By now, everybody knows that the information that I share with you, you can look up yourself. I've had success having child support cases, my child support cases dismissed, and other people's cases set aside or moved away, and they step into getting time sharing agreements. It's never been news to us here at GD and NAPSC that both parents were entitled to the same access to their children. It's just a matter of how many people want to fight and how many people are really built for the resistance, because you're going to get the resistance. All right. So if you need help and you have your documentation, you can call us and we could probably. I'm pretty confident that we can help you. CT, I don't know if he's going how busy he is, but he can even review the stuff and get it over there, and we can hopefully get you moving in the right direction. We cannot represent you. Uh, we do highly recommend that you seek the counsel of an attorney or consult with an attorney. But if you want to go at it yourself, you can always reach out and so we can see what we can do for you without giving you legal advice. So with that being said, I'd like to thank everybody who did join. Uh, take the time to review uh, the information I provided to you today. Reach out to me, and I'm more than willing to help. It's not going to be about money. I think I'm going to get my money uh, elsewhere. I want to see as many people as possible get the kind of relief that they deserve. And also, keep in mind now, if you've had any convictions related to your driving or what have you, potentially, and depending on where you are, if you get your child support case overturned and the suspension or the issue was directly related to the child support, you may have relief on the other side, people, to include getting your credit done. There's a whole lot of collateral benefits to taking the time to reverse a bad child support case. Or even if you go in and look and see if there were any violations procedurally or fundamental violations of anything else you may have been charged with and potentially convicted, depends on what the situation is. There's always going to be nuance to whatever is going on. And finally, I'm going to say this again. People who are not qualified to speak on subjects should not be speaking on subjects, especially in our community. If you don't know, you do the community a lot more good if you just shut the hell up and stop looking for likes on posts, because we're at a very critical stage in our country's history. These people are trying to put us back to where we were many, many years ago. And the fact that we have a governor of the third most populous state in America comfortable changing the curriculum, whitewashing history, and even lying about history and being so comfortable as to say there were some benefits for slavery benefited black people because it helped them gain skills that they could use afterwards, as if everybody who was ever enslaved lived through and eventually became a freed individual. So let's just call that what it is, which is BS, and go with it from there. And by the way, if you think supporting these people is going to benefit you because you're so much different, trust me, at the end of the day, if you ain't one of them, you ain't gonna be one of them. So the best thing is to link up with people who most uh, identify with what's going to help benefit you and your children later on in life, no matter what your political affiliation is. But I know that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and I know that the friend of my enemy is my enemy. So that being said, sometimes it's not about right or wrong. More importantly, it's about clarity. You never reach resolution if you're not willing to engage in honest dialogue, even if that dialogue is with yourself. Hey, by the way, CT, can you still hear me on Blog Talk now? I guess not. But anyway, it's coming through. Okay, cool. So if anybody out there is on Blog Talk and wanted to call in, hit me up on Thursday. Have your questions ready, and we'll get to it. But take time to hug the person you love, and love the person you hug. And on behalf of GD Non-Attorney Pro Se Consultants, I'm the infamous DJ Squid. I'm saying peace. I'm saying chicken grease, and I'm out of here.